All right. Welcome to episode 70 of the Crushing Iron podcast. I'm here with Coach Robbie. What do you think of that?
Man, first off, 70 podcasts.
70
That's
podcasts.
crazy to me. Crazy awesome.
Yep. Today's a special one.
Yeah, man. Today, that was awesome. We always enjoy talking to Steve. This is the second time that we've had him on. And he, outside of the race stuff, race management part of it and things getting canceled, the part that I love is, and we talk about this a lot, is that racing with, I think it was maybe one of our last 4 or 5 podcasts, was just that racing with gratitude and the perspective that you need to have when you come to these races. And your mindset should be, not what am I going to get out of this race, because what are you going to do for me? It should be, how am I going to be awesome today and be a good example and be grateful of just the fact that I get to do this. And I just love that perspective in general, because we all get caught up. I even get caught up in it, in that day to day, me. When the reality is, it's a hobby, and it should be awesome, and we should do awesome things for people.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff to say about that. We talked about his race, Escape to the Cape, how that sort of lines up and compares with Alcatraz. We talked about canceled races, canceled swims, changing the Wisconsin swim. How he works behind the scenes with local charities and local businesses, churches, etc., to get the race course right, and all kinds of other stuff. So we think you're going to love it. He's got a lot of energy, and he crushed it today.
Crushed it.
Yep. Inside the Mind of a Race Director, Part 2 with Steve DelMonte.
I've got a rule when it comes to doing what I do. If I don't wake up and feel like I got to throw up just a little bit because I got so much to do, then I'm not really challenging myself.
What's up, man?
Hey, dude, what's going on?
Not too much. Pretty excited about today's episode.
Me too, man. I actually skipped out on my second cup of coffee because the last time we got done talking to Steve, it felt like I had snorted a line of espresso beans. So I am relaxed and ready to soak it in, and yeah, I'm super pumped to have Steve back on, and yeah, pretty pumped.
Inside the Mind of a Race Director, Part 2, we welcome the one and only Steve DelMonte. What's going on, buddy?
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing? Thanks for having me on. I'm fired up.
Good, man.
That's good.
I do want to say this is also a request. We have a series that's called How to Not Suck, and I would like to politely also in parentheses call this the How to Not Suck at Race Directing podcast.
And the only way you could be qualified to teach this class is by sucking in the past. So
exactly.
I've been there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been there.
Awesome, man. I got to tell you, man, you are quite the rock star in our close Facebook group. How do you feel about that?
It's funny. Somebody, there was a comment in a closed Facebook group page that made its way back to me. And one of the people in that closed group doesn't like me at all, made it known.
Okay.
And she was viciously attacked by other people for that. And she's like, what is with it with Delmo Sports? It's like a cult down there of what you're doing. And the only thing that I'm doing that I think might be different from other people, I do this every day. I am actually living out my dreams, my goals, and my passion. I'm living it. This is all I do. In the morning, in the afternoon, at night, I take my family to dinner. This is it. This is what's on my brain. And I think when you come into contact with someone that's actually doing exactly what they want to do with their life, you can't help but at least take notice, whether you like them or not, or her or not. And I think that's what resonates with people, because I think a lot of people, they kind of fall into a little bit of a trap where, it's like, look, I can chase my dreams and go for broke, or I can take very steady, reliable thing and kind of enjoy it a little bit, but man, I'm making good money. You know, I got my health insurance paid for, you know, I can count on that. And I did that for a while. And then after a little while, I was like, fuck it, I'm going all in. And so that's it. That's it, man.
You are, yeah, you're going all in. That's for sure, man. I mean, I think that's the thing is just the feedback we get about your races and just the amount of effort you put into the little things. Man, that makes such a difference, and people really dig that. So I thought maybe we could start out by talking about the race you just had, Escape the Cape,
Sure.
and like somebody asked a question, you know, how long does it take, for example, to get from the idea stages of something like that to actually making it happen? And then, you know, just talk about it, what happened. You know, there was an incident where a couple of people, I think, didn't go in the water, and you got a couple other things to say about that. So just talk about that race, because I know that's a big one for you.
So from idea to from conception to, you know, to birth, so to speak, it takes as long as you want it to take. If you're going to be halfway about things, it's going to take you forever. But if you are a full steam ahead, you know, it takes as long. Look, that's such a loaded question. I came up with an idea for a race in Cape May in 2011, immediately after the first Atlantic City Triathlon. I was like, I want to do another race. Cape May would be the perfect location. It's only 10 minutes from my house. Which is Cape May, for any of you listeners that don't know, is a very southern tip of New Jersey. It's actually on the same line of latitude as Washington, D.C. So it's down there. And I live very, very close to that. And started an idea, started talking to some people, and it just didn't materialize. Number one, it didn't materialize because I could not focus on it 100% because I was also working my family business. Anyway, a year goes by, right? Fast forward a year, and it's the following December, and I'm sitting at my computer. I'm actually working on a plan to do this event again, and I got a phone call from the municipality, from someone in the municipality saying, hey, would you come in here? We'd like to talk to you about doing an event. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm actually working on my computer right now on the event. I haven't talked to you in a year, and you're calling me at this time? I was like, okay. So I go in and I meet with the Recreation Department of Lower Township, New Jersey, which is just the next town over from Cape May City, right? And I start telling them about this event in Cape May that I wanted to do, and this old crusty guy was in there. His name is Frank Simonson, and his son is now the mayor. And I can call him Krusty because we're friends. And he said, kid, forget about doing something over in Cape May. You need to go check out the ferry property. It's gorgeous. No one even knows it's here, and I think it would be great for your event. Now, you know, at this time, I'm like in year 10 of DelMonte Sports. You know, year 9. I'm like, what the hell does this old man know that I don't know? You know what I mean? He's a captain of a ship. He's not a race director like me. You know. Mm-hmm. So to appease him, I said, absolutely, sir. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to take a look. And for the first time, I had been to the ferry, Cape May Lewis Ferry, in North Cape May, many times. I had never approached the property as an event director. I had only approached it as a passenger. So it's like when you get a certain car, you start seeing that car everywhere, you know? And so I drove onto the property and I said, dear Lord, this is perfect. This is perfect. So I come up with a plan to do a race. Mind you, this plan did not include jumping off of a boat at all.
No?
You know, I thought that was beyond my ability. So we were just going to swim from the beach. We were going to use the ferry grounds as a transition area. We're going to bike and swim and all over the place. And the litmus test is showing Mrs. Delmo, my wife. You know, she's like, so I totally outkicked my coverage when it comes to my wife. And so she's the only person that's going to not agree with me to the end. She'll tell me how it is. So we load up the babies in the car, 2 babies at the time. And I take her around and I show her the event, and she pretty much said, this sucks, right? Like flat out, like no sugarcoating. She's like, this sucks. What's special about this? There's nothing special about this. Why would people want to come here? I immediately got defensive. I was like, you don't know triathlon. You're not a triathlete. I am. You don't know what you're talking about. So immediately, ego is crushed. And we're sitting in the parking lot in the ferry, and she points to the ferries. And she goes, don't you people like boats? You people.
You people.
Yeah,
This
you
is what
people.
you people. And I said, yeah, we do. She goes, isn't there a race where a bunch of you guys jump off and a boat? I go, yeah, it's Alcatraz. It's like one of the top 5 races in the world. She goes, why don't you ask him to use a boat? Now that would be cool. And I had a meeting later that day, and I literally walked in with the Lower Township and the people at the ferry, and I said, for maximum impact, this is how I finished the meeting. I did my whole spiel about using that transition area, on the ferry property. And I said, well, for maximum impact and a guaranteed sellout and a major success, we load 1,000 athletes onto a Cape May Lewis ferry, and we take it out a mile, have them jump off, swim to shore, a la Escape from Alcatraz that they do in San Francisco. And this is going to guarantee us that we reach the goals that we want to reach. And the room fell silent because no one had a clue that I was going to ask for that. They just thought I wanted to use the lawn for bicycles. And the head of operations looks at me, kind of tilts his head, and he goes, I think it's a great idea. Let's make it happen. And so I was like, okay. So we shake hands. It's like, all right, come back in a little bit. And I walk out the room and I go, now what the hell do I do? How do I pull this off? They said, yes, you got to make it happen. So I immediately signed up for Alcatraz. Went and did Alcatraz in 2013 when the race was March 3rd, 2013. The air was 42, the water was 49. And made the event happen. And what I didn't know at the time is the guy that I was pitching the race to at the Cape May Lewis Ferry Terminal, he almost took a job as the head of the San Francisco Bell, which is the boat you jump off of, for Alcatraz. So he knew exactly what I was talking about. He got it. He understood it. And that was the start of everything. So the original idea for an event, it took a couple of years, but I didn't know that. And so that's a long-winded answer. It's probably not interesting to a lot of people, but once they said yes, once they said yes, I'll tell you guys, I quit my job.
Really? Nice.
I quit my job. I quit my job with my family. I told my father, I said, listen, I got this event coming up. It's with the Cape May Lewis Ferry. And he said, this is your moment. He goes, take it. He goes, if you don't take your shot, like your mother and I did with the hospitality business when you guys were little kids, you will regret it the rest of your life. And that's all I needed to hear. And so I said, all right. And paycheck stopped. Health insurance stopped. Everything stopped. And when you do that, you find a way to make it work.
This is true.
There is no turning back.
No doubt about it, man. Well,
so that's a long-winded answer there. Sorry about that.
That's okay. But I don't know. Since you mentioned Alcatraz, Robbie, do you think we could go into this direction?
Yeah, I was
Perfect
curious.
Example.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a good example, and this is going to go into a 2-part question. Obviously you probably heard about Alcatraz and how they canceled the swim, and how that is like the iconic race where people they could have probably canceled the run and the bike and people would have been less upset, and just made it like a swim. Sure. Because and how huge and honestly, I get where they were coming from. With I think it was the Coast Guard that actually made the call, and you can't really argue with that. And it is about safety.
No, you can't.
Yep, and it is about safety. But how do you plan for / prepare your mind to deal with that kind of backlash if it is to happen? But then B, and this is the part where I think a lot of people have issues with races like this, is that you come across to me as a person who wants your races and your events within Domo Sports to actually have some kind of a relationship with the racer. You want the racer to feel like they have a relationship with not with just your event company, but these specific races. And I think that sometimes athletes who get in these situations like Alcatraz, they have no loyalty, no relationship, no face to a name with an event like Escape from Alcatraz. They just go do it, and they'll probably never do it again. Versus most of the people that do your race, I would imagine, I'm just on a 7 out of 10 come back and do another one. And so every year. Yeah. And so they're invested in you, and they have that relationship. So I just was curious to hear about that dynamic and why, not why it sets it apart, because I think that's obvious why you have set it apart, but why that's kind of an undervalued approach from other race directors, and maybe something athletes don't think about with races like this, because sometimes they don't have to, because then you're going to come back. So I know it's a long-winded question, but have at it.
Well, in relation to the swim being canceled at Alcatraz, I would love to know the weather conditions when I did it in 2013. They were really tough. And when I jumped in the water, I mean, when I tell you, and I had full wetsuit, I had a hoodie on, the wetsuit, like swim cap thing. And it was freezing water. And I just kept swimming. But when I was swimming, I could hear, and I was one of the first people off the boat, right behind the pros. And I could hear people screaming when they hit the water. Like, you can hear it, like when your ear, and you can hear like, help, get me out of here. Like, it was like D-Day or something. It was surreal. And
wow.
I couldn't, it was so cold. It took my breath away for 10 minutes. Like, can you imagine, like, swimming for 10 minutes and you're like, I gotta get the hell out. Just keep swimming. Oh my God, there's no way back. I just gotta keep going. Like, it's an awful feeling. And so I don't know what the conditions were like this past race, but I will tell you this. The Coast Guard says it's a no-go, brother. It's a no-go. There's no arguing. The Coast Guard is a partner in what we do, because I have to submit a marine permit, because I don't do any lake swims. It's all, intercoastal waterways and ocean swims for me. So they're a partner in the event in the sense that they have to approve it. So for us, what we have is we have many contingency plans. And, for Escape the Cape, last year we had some crazy conditions. But we were able to get the event off, and we were able to get it off safely. And due to the fact that we just work it really hard to make sure that these things can happen. The body of water at Escape the Cape is very different than the San Francisco Bay. So, that's different. So we have contingency plans. We're fortunate enough where if we couldn't jump off the boat, we can still go from the beach. So to get in a swim. But look, people don't sign up for Escape the Cape to just come and give me a hug and race. They want to jump off that boat.
Yeah.
And we're going to do everything possible to make that happen. But when and I have an event called Escape to Lewis. So with the Cape May Lewis Ferry, it connects between Cape May, New Jersey, and Lewis, Delaware. And there is a gorgeous, Lewis, Delaware is fantastic. I mean, the whole, and I have an open water swim there for the last 2 years, which, by the way, has been canceled the last 2 years due to weather. So imagine that. Like, I haven't even had this friggin' event yet. It's been canceled twice on me due to weather. But, we have over 600 swimmers registered, and I've had to cancel the last 2 years because I can't get my support vessels out on the water. I can't get the people that are trying to keep the swimmers safe out on the water. If I can't do that, we can't get in the water. And from what I understand, that was the case for Alcatraz. And I wish it on no one. I wish that on no one. But I have been involved with events where we've had to cancel the swim. And at the end of the day, you know what? I'm going to look people in the eye and I'm going to tell them, listen, man, it's just not safe. And if you want to be pissed, go ahead. I don't really care.
Yeah.
You're going to work on Monday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You are going to work on Monday. Your kids are going to thank me. Your friends and family are going to thank me, and move on and get over it. And I don't have a problem talking to the athletes like that. I think that's why I resonate with them. Like one of the athletes was actually in this Facebook group page got offended by the way I spoke to them at Escape the Cape.
Yeah.
At the athlete meetings, because I said flat out, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm just going, I believe in 100% truth. Right. So it's like, listen, if you can't swim and you're here right now and you're going to get on that boat and you're going to jump off, don't, because you're going to take up the resources of our lifeguards and water safety that need to be paying attention to people that actually know how to swim, instead of someone that just thinks it's fun to jump off of a boat and now we got to rescue you. They were offended by that comment. And to me, that is wrong. That is what's wrong with #America. That people get offended because I'm telling you the truth. You should not be going into the water if you don't know how to swim. Period. This ain't funny. You can't get off your bike in the water. You can't walk the run in the water. You sink in the water. That's it.
Yeah.
If you want to get pissed, get pissed. You know, I don't care. Don't race.
I agree. We talk about that a lot too. Is like people take the swim lightly and stuff like that. I want to, because the last time we talked, you said something that still resonates with me. It was about a race you had where I think 20 or so people popped their tire because of you didn't mark a curb or something like that.
Yeah,
and you
there was a lip off of an on-ramp.
Yeah, and you immediately, I think, gave them the next year's entry fee. So, and I'm not saying that this is what, like with the Alcatraz, when people do go out there and they hope that the swim, that's the thing, is escape from Alcatraz. So when they get there, is there some other, soothing way to, kind of calm the athletes or make it right in a way? And now I was looking at one of your videos about you're going to go to Eagle Man, and you mentioned something about you bought the insurance. Now, is this something that always happens? Is there a way people can get part of their money back if they buy insurance or something like that? I'm just throwing it out there because this seems to be a common topic among athletes that hey, this isn't the race I signed up for, kind of thing.
Well, here's the thing. Every event, including Alcatraz, there is a disclaimer on that saying race director reserves the right to alter the race at any point for exactly that reason. Where, if there's a fucking shark in the water, dude, you're not going in. Don't ask for $25 back. You're not going in. We just did you a favor. You're not going to be, fish food today. And luckily we haven't had that. But it's like, look, no one's getting paid to do this. This is not the Olympics. And when athletes start to take themselves just a bit too seriously, and look, I was at the first, it's funny, I was at St. Anthony's the first year they canceled the swim. I was there, and it was the first year in 30 years that they canceled the swim. You should have heard these people bitching and moaning. And it's like, guys, look, someone could get hurt. Like, and all the, the only people who really get pissed about it are the good swimmers. The people who aren't, they're like, yes, no swim, this is amazing, they're all fired up about it. But what are we supposed to do? It's like we have to, unfortunately, and some people are going to get really upset with this, we have to dumb things down to the least capable athlete. They weren't canceling swims in the 80s. You know why? Because only freaking swimmers were in triathlon. There wasn't someone that just said, I'm going to go do a triathlon today and swim a mile with no wetsuit in the San Francisco Bay. You just didn't do it. As triathlon has become more popular, it's getting people into the sport, thank goodness, that normally wouldn't have done it, that are looking to change their lives, that have, that are and now they're getting into it. Now, they don't have the same abilities as, former high school and college swimmers. They just don't. And so you have to think of those people. They're in your race. And I can't tell you how many people, we have 1750 in our race, 325 had never done a triathlon in their lives before and did Escape to Cape. 325. And I was like, who are you? And they all raised their hand. And I was just like, what's wrong with you? Why did you pick this one? And you get a good chuckle out of it, but that's the truth. But in terms of insurance, guys, I just got my email from the thing. I'm getting a full reimbursement for Eagle Man. I supplied the necessary documentation, and I got my money back. And that's actually going to be a video that I do for the athletes to let them know that it works. The insurance works. But I think what did I do? Oh, for Escape to Lewis, the open water swim that we have. Look, I'm different. I rolled everybody into the next year. The event was canceled. Period. Like canceled. Like there was no when you have a swim and the swim's canceled, there is no run and bike part of it. It's just nothing. It's like, and some people they've been canceled on twice. So now it's like this is year 3, but even though I canceled the event, timekeeper still gets paid.
Yeah.
Even though there was no event, medals still are bought. Permits are still purchased. Lifeguards are showing up, and guess what? You just took their morning. There's T-shirts. There's so many things. Staff. What do I ask my team? Listen, all that work that you put into Escape to Lewis, I need that money back. It's like, no. Like,
yeah.
You still have to pay them and act as if. And so that's what I did for Lewis. But for a triathlon, luckily for a triathlon, if you can't have the swim, you can have the bike. If you can't have the swim and the bike, you can have the run. You could do something. Mm-hmm. So don't anyone expect to get their money back from a canceled, portion of a race.
Can you guys buy insurance for stuff like that?
I believe we can. In fact, I really do need to look that up, in all honesty, especially for Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City, because if a nor'easter is blowing through and the event is canceled, can you imagine?
Oh my God.
You imagine the shitstorm of athletes being like, this is ridiculous, and part of it is ridiculous. It's like, well, we just been planning all year for it, and now the event didn't happen. So get myself a little Post-it note on that one. I'm supposed to be looking that up a while ago. So
put that on your dry erase board, Steve.
I'm sure that'll be cheap insurance too.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Sorry I brought that up, but I was just curious, and I know that's got to be incredible pressure. I mean, to think about that weather. I mean, I just did 70.3 Chattanooga, and the 2 days before it was like 100% rain, 100% lightning, thunder, all this stuff, and they had a million provisionary plans, I'm sure. They ended up shortening the swim because the current was too rough. They just kind of spun it around, and everybody went downstream. And again, that worked out great. And I don't know. I mean, we've been kind of hacking on this swim thing, but I did want to ask a question because my favorite race to date has been Ironman Wisconsin, and Robbie did it last year with me, and we really enjoyed it. And one of the big things there, too, is the mass swim start, and they have just cut that up into waves. And I was just curious to ask you, why is that? Do you think do you know why that would happen, or can you even talk about that? I know it's probably going to be something to do with safety, but we just don't know if that's, kind of the truth.
Yeah, I think it has. I think I have a very good friend of mine that lives in Southwest Florida, and he was an elite college swimmer, and he said one of the scariest swims he's ever done was a mass start for a big race like that, because it's just, there's no escaping. You're not even swimming in water. You're pulling through air bubbles, and it just doesn't let up for a couple minutes. And there's two schools of thought on that. It's like, okay, well, guess what? If you're not that good of a swimmer, sit at the back, dude. Sit at the back, because you're probably not that great of a cyclist and a runner. So just frickin' take it easy, all right? You're not going to win the race, so just go at the back. Just go at the back. And unfortunately, it's an extremely litigious society, and some lawyer, I'm sure, will have, and no offense to any lawyers, one of my best friends is an attorney and critical to DelMonte Sports' success, and it's just the way it is, guys. It's the nature of the beast. I mean, the safest possible thing you can do is send them off a few at a time, or put them in waves. And that really is the safest thing that you can do. When you look at a mass start and then you look at a time trial start, what does common sense tell you is safer? If something were to happen to one of those athletes, who's it easier to get to? A swimmer that is in a pack of swimmers that is maybe 10 feet wide, or 100 feet wide, 150 feet wide, with who knows how many swimmers in between. Good luck trying to get a paddleboard in there. Good luck. It's just, it's tough to do that. So look, things evolve, and things have evolved, and this is the way it is now. And I think everybody, if anyone really has an issue with it, has a big problem with it, I'm sure they also have, other view. I'm sure they got other shit they're dealing with that has nothing to do with triathlon that they're not happy with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, guys, it's a fucking race, dude. Just do what they tell you to do. That's it, man. Just go. redline it. You know, you put the work in, just go, man. Enjoy, smile the whole time. Thank the volunteers. Guarantee you'll have a great race. You know?
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I'm probably
man.
not making any friends today at all. But
no, man. It's just I don't know. It was
So
such a
I have to say, I if having done it and then having done Wisconsin and also done Louisville and started from the back. I tend to think and believe that your mass swim start is really only as massive as like the 10 to 20 feet square around you. Because I do agree that the faster swimmers usually go up front, the slower swimmers usually go in the back, and if you end up doing waves, then you're going to have more of the people swimming on top of people. Faster swimmers, 20-25 age group is coming up behind, 55 or 56 or whatever, 55 to 60. And aren't you honestly creating a much longer swim course to actually be able to get to people? So my point with Wisconsin is, from a logistics standpoint, the first wave goes off at whatever they're saying now, like 6:30, and they're faster swimmers, and then the last wave goes off at 7, and they're slower swimmers, and then that heat, you're going to have people literally finishing that swim, and then you're going to have also athletes barely even getting to the first turn buoy. Isn't that just more area to cover that also makes it just as difficult to get to an athlete in distress?
Yeah, it thins the herd. I was a lead paddleboard for Lake Placid last year, and I saw, your pros go off, men are motoring, and then you have the other groups, and by doing waves or time trial, it thins the herd out. It is very easy. I was an ocean lifeguard for 10 years. Here along the southern Jersey shore. It's very easy to spot a swimmer in distress when there's only a few, that are going past you at a time. When there are many, it's a lot more difficult for sure. However, one of the complaints from athletes, and there's plenty, is I'm going to get past. You're putting us old guys up at the front. And now I'm going to get passed by these young guys. They're going to swim over top of me. All right, let's fix it. Let's move them around. And now it's like, well, you put all these old guys at the front, all these young guys at the front. Now us old guys are in the back, and now we're going to be on the course longer. And I'm like, you know what, dude? I don't know what to tell you. You either want to fucking do the race or you don't want to do the race. I mean, everyone can't go for it. So it's like, you know what we're going to do? Self-seeding. You go where you want. Well, I'm not going to tell you when to start. You get yourself ready. You get yourself excited, and you go in when you want to go in.
I think
and to me, I've had success doing it that way with my events, like jumping off the boat at Skate to Cape. You got to see some of these people melting down at the end of the boat. It's like, it's awesome. But you go when you're ready, and that way you eliminate I don't want to go at night. I'll be waiting for an hour and a half, and it's like, all right, you'll go first. Well, I don't want to go first either. It's like, you know what? Here's a bullhorn. Here's a clipboard. There you go.
The easiest way to solve all these problems is just tell these people they just should go pro, and then they could
That's it, man.
Turn pro, and then you can get off right in the front. No problems.
I agree. No, I love the mass swim start, but I agree with you, Steve, that I think the self-seeding causes the least bit of anxiety possible.
No question.
Easily.
Think about this. You're going when you want to go.
Exactly. Yep.
Period.
Yeah, my favorite experience, Mike, and we talk about this all the time, was Ironman Louisville in 2014. We didn't want to rush. We literally sat on the stairs at the front and listened to the national anthem and hung out and talked to family until we were literally like some of the last people to go in when the line basically came back to us, instead of walking down like a mile and a half to get in line just to walk back to the front. It's like it was easy just to chill and relax, and whether but I totally agree. That is, in my opinion, that's the safest way as well to start a race.
And that's what we're doing at Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City this year. It's going to be yep, that's what we're doing this year. So we're excited about it, and then I think the athletes will appreciate it, and nobody can complain.
Yeah, let's talk about how's that race going? How's everything going for that?
We are about to sell out any second.
Really?
To be perfectly honest. Yeah.
You hear that,
it's-
people? Get over there, sign up for the race, sell it out, and get your butt going.
Yeah, once we close registration, we then move in. The only way to get into the event is through our official charity partner, Stomp the Monster, which offers services to families with that are experiencing that has someone that has cancer. So they're not going to treat the disease, but it may take everything out of your family to help support that person. So they're going to take care of your groceries. They're going to take care of your electric bill. They can pay your rent. Those are the things that really break a family. And so it's a phenomenal organization here in New Jersey. And then they're about to, so that's who people will be helping when they sign up for Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City. So
that's awesome.
That is cool, man.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing what they do. And, no one wants to think about it or talk about it till it happens to them. And then it's like, oh shit. So, so we're fired up, man.
So that's kind
awesome.
of what goes on outside of the race and behind the scenes and sort of things like that. We had one question that I think is kind of interesting. Is like, do you have any stories about like, trying to get a bike course laid out or something like that, and some complications? And I heard there was some cooperation from some churches in a recent race that you had. Stuff like that I think is really cool, because Ironman Chattanooga that we did, I know they had some rerouting issues because the church was in session on Sunday and they didn't want to acquiesce to that idea. So talk about something like that.
We're extremely fortunate. I think one of the differences about what I do and what maybe other people do is I live where I race, where we produce. Like Atlantic City to Lewis, Delaware, like nothing is further than 35 miles from my home. So I'm very accessible. So for Escape the Cape, we altered the course this year to make it to avoid opposing bike traffic on the bike course. And in order to do that, we needed to go past a church. It was the First Assembly of Cape May. And so I talked to Pastor Dodd. I said, the course is going to go past the church, but you're going to be in session. And without flinching, he's like, Stephen, we will move our Sunday service for this race.
Wow.
And we're going to come out and volunteer and support the event. He goes, because we believe this is a great thing for the community. It's, as we all know, we all need to be a little bit more healthy. We all need to take care of our bodies because they're a gift from God. He's straight up. And yeah, man. And he goes, and so we would love to support you. And I just like, where else does this happen where they're going to move surf? I didn't even ask.
Muncie 70.3. There's a church on the course, and they actually open it up for people to crash there for like $20 for the night, and they have a shower and they feed them in the morning, and they volunteer on the course. But yeah, it's like that's like the only your race.
Tell you what, man,
only two I've ever heard of that have any.
Jesus knows how to make a buck, doesn't he? I love that guy. He's the best.
Hey,
we would love to support this race. $20 a head.
You guys are giving me faith in humanity again right now.
That's right.
I got to tell you, this is like
it is out there. It's speaking of faith.
It is out there.
This was what I thought was an incredible question from one of our closed group guys, and he says, because most people, the communication most people have with a race director is just flat out bitching and moaning, and what you can do better and why it wasn't great for me. And this person asked an awesome question. And he said, what would he like to see us as athletes / competitors do to make these races more successful, enjoyable, run smoother, or just generally assist?
I mean, who's us?
You. What
me?
can athletes do, or what would race directors like to see athletes do?
To help. Yeah.
The first thing I'd like you to do is visit DelMosports.com. No. You know what? I think, for me, people tend to forget how lucky they are. And I spend every Father's Day volunteering my time as a deep water leader for an event called They Will Surf Again by Life Rolls On. And for some people that don't know, that event is Life Rolls On is a charity that assist victims with, or I should say athletes, people with spinal cord injury. So what we do that day is, for 7 hours, is we give people that are suffering spinal cord injuries, so you can say paralyzed, an ability to go surfing for 20 minutes each that day. And when you do that, and you look at them and you see that, I mean, some of these people are in conditions that you're thinking to yourself, this one girl, her name was Mandy. She's a quadriplegic. She's 18 years old. She got in an accident when she was 16. She cannot use anything from the shoulders down. No arms, no legs, nothing. Everything has to be done for her. Can you imagine this? I want you to picture this. But her family took her to the beach. We put her on a huge surfboard. We have like hundreds of volunteers out in the water, and we'll take her out, and I'll paddle her in. I'll be on the back of the board, and we take her surfing for 20 minutes. And I'll tell you, nothing on her body's working except her internal organs and a smile on her face. And so when you think of that, and then you think about what other issues you may, it's a great perspective day for me, because it's right after Escape the Cape. I got the heat of the summer coming on. In years past, I had Challenge Atlantic City on my heels, and I'm thinking to myself, what problems, what was I complaining about? I've got expenses. I don't have problems. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell the athlete, I go, I just did an event in Avalon, New Jersey. I hadn't trained in 6 weeks. I've been injured. And I was like fucking all self-pitying myself. I didn't do Eagle Man. And I'm like, wait a second. I do this Life Rolls On, They Will Surf Again event. And I'm thinking, I'm going to Eagle Man. I'm going. I mean, I can go. I'm everything's working. It hurts, but I'm 40 now. It's going to hurt. Just deal with it. And I had a great race. And my goal was, it wasn't a time goal. It was, I'm going to thank every volunteer I see. I'm going to be that annoying athlete that thanks every volunteer that I see. And I think I got like 95% of them, and I think athletes need to do that. There's no pressure on you. You're not earning your family's mortgage at the race. If anything, you probably spent it at the race, You just need to be grateful. You need to thank people. You need to put your hands up to the heavens and be like, geez, to the gods, like, thank you for the opportunity to be here and play triathlon today. Because I could be, like so many people have things way, way worse. We're born in the greatest country on earth, regardless of what anybody else thinks. People are still dying to get in here, and we continue to keep screwing it up, but think of that, don't put this external stress on yourself. Don't come with an attitude. Number one, we'll put you in your place. And if we don't put you in your place, one of our courses will put you in your place. And be grateful, man. You got to race with gratitude. If you do not race with gratitude, you don't get it. And if you don't get it, there's nothing we can do for you. You know what I mean? Like, that's my big thing. Like, so as an athlete, dude, come with a smile on your face and know that you're one of the luckiest people literally on the face of the planet. That you were born in America, okay? You have the ability to be in a triathlon, and that you can play on a Saturday or Sunday morning as an adult. I want you to think about that for a second. Whoever's listening, like for the 7 people that are going to listen to this, like, think about that. Now, and then you complain that are you going to complain that you get a 2-minute penalty from USAT? Who gives a shit? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. For those of you that hawk the All-American rankings, like, dude, take it easy. Like, what are you getting out of it? I mean, is it providing you with a self-confidence that you actually lack? Like, be happy. You can play. You're a 45-year-old man. You're going to play this morning. What are you upset about? Yeah. And I think hopefully that's it, man. That's what I want you to get out of it. Be grateful, people, man. We're lucky. Remember, we're lucky.
You're here.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's going to be sort of the topic of our next podcast, actually. In a way,
I feel
right?
Like we just kind of. Well, we always cover the gratitude on on our podcasts, and for most of them, in perspective, and the people that generally are the ones that are so stressed out about racing, or because they've sacrificed way too much that from family and work and other things to go out and do a hobby that's supposed to be fun and transformative and give more back to their life than add additional stress. And it's
no doubt, dude.
Yeah,
No
it's crazy.
doubt.
It's like, and
No doubt.
Like you said, it's like I just started Instagram for our C26 triathlon page, and I've noticed like all these people that try to follow us, when I see who it was, or because all they want to do is you follow them back because they have like 4,000 worthless followers that don't even look at their stuff. But literally every person's bio has their how many Ironman they've done, how many 70.3s they've done, and then their times. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Nobody even knows who you are, and who cares? Like, people looking through like, come on, man, like you're killing me with your times and how many you've done. Like, it's great that you've done it, but like, and it's great you've survived this long, but nobody gives a shit.
No, it's true. I mean, it's a place. A triathlon has given back to me more than I can ever give to it. When I race triathlon, I'm affecting me. When I produce, I have the ability to affect thousands of people. To me, that's addicting. To me, I'm proud of that. I'm proud to run a solid event, a safe event. I'm proud to be honest with people. So many people aren't honest these days. I mean, think about this. This is like shit you're taught when you're kids. Like, tell the truth. Well, that applies when you're 40. Tell the truth, you know? And for the people out there that are willing to sacrifice playing wiffle ball with their kids to go for a ride. I'm not saying, you bail on your workouts all the time, but man, they're little only so often. Your parents ain't going to be around forever. And yes, they can be annoying. I know I'm annoying to my kids. My parents are annoying to me sometimes. But for Christ's sakes, you have got to make the time. You've got to take the time. And at the end of the day, you are not a triathlete. Jan Frodeno is a triathlete. You're not. I'm not, dude. I'm not. I'm Steve DelMonte. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I like to play triathlon. I like to do all kinds of cool shit, paddle and swim. I'll ride my bike, but Tim O'Donnell's a triathlete. Lagerstrom's a triathlete. I like to pretend I am. And too many people get caught up with giving themselves a label in order to feel important. And you're already enough. You're already worth it. You don't need to label yourself to become important. And I think, and that's one of the things about what we do here, what I do at my events is, it's a wedding, dude. And we have 1,500 brides, even if you're a dude, and that we make you important that day. We don't give a shit about your time. We give a shit about you. Mm-hmm. We care about you. We care that your check-in was efficient. We care that your course was safe. We care that your shirt's the right size. We care that your food is hot. We care that all those little things, that's what we care about. I don't know if you did the work or not. Frankly, I don't care. I care that you did enough work that you can complete the event and you can be safe. I want you to set an example for your family and friends that, yes, you can do this, but I could care less about your time. That's why, I don't know, this is what we do. It wasn't part of the business plan. It just kind of evolved into that. And just, people need to fucking take a break. I'm going to get so much trouble for this.
Would you say they just need to check themselves?
Check themselves, yeah.
Just check yourself, man. Just, look in the mirror and then remember, man, as important as you think you are, you need to make sure you're nice to people. Be nice to people. Smile to people. Be cool. Be cool to people. No, you take the time. But and the last thing you should do after a triathlon is be upset with your performance. That has nothing to do with you. Some people have a good day. Some people have a bad day. Jesse Thomas just had an awful experience at Ironman Lanzarote, correct? Awful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awful. This is fucking Jesse Thomas we're talking about. All this guy does is train. That's all he does. He had a bad day. What makes you think you're not going to have a bad day when you have to work 60 hours at a desk job, have family commitments, maybe you're taking care of parents that can't take care of themselves, got all kinds of other shit going on, and you have a bad day and you're going to beat yourself up? Fuck, if you get out of bed in the morning, you've won. You have won. If you get to the starting line, dude, you won. That's what I don't get. Jesse Thomas had a bad day. He's unbelievable. He's won Wildflower I don't know how many times. He's an awesome dude. He had a bad day. You're going to have a bad day. It's what you think you're going to have a bad day. What you think is a bad day. Because I tell you what, one of those people that I was taking surfing that can't use their legs or their arms, they'll trade with you any day.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's my point. It's like people don't put themselves in perspective. They don't think about it like that. It's all about, I can save 10 watts. It's like you can, you know what? You're probably not fun to hang out with either. I'll tell you that.
Hey,
Exactly.
And if you wouldn't mind, just quick, because the story about the two people that didn't jump off the boat, because I think this is right on the same line. I think people really resonate with that message that you put out on your video, and if you could just quickly, convey that message.
So we had two athletes, and they were trembling at the edge of the boat. I mean, they might as well have been standing at the edge of a building and jumping off with no parachute. It's pretty. That's it. When you're up close and you're right next to someone that's going through that, man, it's real. It's real, and you could see it's like they have created in their mind this fear. Now, other people are fucking backflipping off the boat,
Yeah.
and some people they can't do it. And I'm telling you, I've got lifeguards right there. It's just 12 feet, man. It's just 12 feet. That's all it is. You splash in the water and then you go race. But so they couldn't do it, man. And we said, look, time's up. Sorry, you can't go. And that's because safety. We gotta. This boat's got to get back into port. So after the event, I was just thinking, I'm like, man, here are two people that had the exact opposite experience that all of our finishers had, which is this sense of elation, accomplishment. And man, I don't want anybody leaving that event feeling like that. And look, it can happen to anybody, man. It can happen to anyone. And so I just said, you know what? We're not going to kind of like, we're going to thank the athletes, but I want the athletes kind of like pick each other up, and give them an old, come on, you can get it done. So I put the video out there. I said, listen, man, let's think about these. Let's let them know that this is not who they are. They're not a fearful person. They just didn't get it done that day. It doesn't mean they're never going to get it done. It's just, hey, sometimes it happens, and it's okay. But the important thing is that you go back at it every day. You don't fucking chop the oak tree down with one fell swoop of the axe. That doesn't happen. It takes many, 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 many whacks of the axe to fall that tall oak, right? And for them, that tall oak is maybe it's a fear of heights. It's not going to happen every time. It's just not. So I hope that they kind of re-up and they say, I can do this, and get it done. And so we had that response was from the athletes was beyond anything that I expected. I don't make videos to get that type of reaction from like athletes and stuff like, oh, this thing's going to go viral. It's like when I make a video, it's because I think it's, good idea. And sometimes I'm like, what did I just put up there on the internet? Like, why did I do that? Because I've watched some of the shit that I do and I'm like, it is embarrassing to like watch. And I have so many people come up to me and it's like, thank you for that video. That was awesome. And I'm like, oh, you watched that for real? And they're like, yeah, it was great. We really enjoyed it. So, I guess, to me, triathlon is that thing where it's helping people just get a little bit more confidence in their lives. Because I do believe that we have a major confidence issue in this country. Mm-hmm. I think that's why it's become so divided on so many different issues and topics, is because people don't really believe in themselves, that they tie themselves to something to get behind in order to get people to like them or to feel like they belong to something. And you're already awesome. People, you're already awesome. You don't need to do stupid shit, or say things or join things just to feel great. You don't have to join a team in order to feel important. You could just roll to a race like on your own and be amazing. And I want people to understand that even if you don't jump off the boat or you are afraid to toe that starting line, don't let that stop you. Deal with your shit, get over it, get back on the starting line, because sooner or later you're going to conquer that beast. And that's not just in triathlon. That's maybe you finally want to change a relationship with someone in your life, or tell that your boss is, go F off. I'm done with you. You're mean. I hate you. I'm moving on. But, think about it. Think about how many people just put up with defeat every day and accept it. It's mind blowing, and you don't have to do that. And to me, those two athletes, I just hope that they don't take that experience and kind of let it snowball. So I just wanted people to, I want our athletes to look out for each other, man. It's like, Just be nice.
I like that, man. Thanks for that's a good perspective, and I think we all need to kind of be reminded of that. So it's a good deal here, man. All right, man. I think we're going to let you get back to your 8 whiteboards and the big list.
Yeah.
4.
4 whiteboards.
Yeah, I have.
Four.
I have
Robbie
no
has 8.
idea why. I have no idea why people do your races. You're like not even motivating, and you don't have a lot of good things to say. It's just crazy.
I got to tell you, man. I cringe at some of the stuff that I like when you go back and look. You know what I mean? Like think of yourself. Like to me, I think of myself when I was like 23 years old, 24 years old, and some of the shit that I would say around people that are my age now, and I'm like, how did anybody tolerate my existence? How? I was the dumbest person in the room, and I had a lot to say, and I've completely changed all of that. You know what I mean? Here's a tip for everybody. If there are people in your life that haven't changed since high school, in their thinking or their actions, stop hanging out with them. They're not doing you any good, dude. If you haven't gotten just a little bit better or have grown up a little bit, you know, or if you're still, I don't know. I just look at some of this stuff, stuff that I did with Delmo Sports 10 years ago, I would never do today, ever. And hopefully people are just growing a little bit more when it comes to things like that. Just fucking get a little bit better, guys. Everybody get a little bit better. Well, yeah.
All right, it's a deal, man. I'll take that to heart.
Yep.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you.
Again.
We really appreciate you coming on, man.
I had a blast. It gives me a chance to vent and destroy my brand a little bit more to people that are like, oh my God, can you believe he said that? And if we were face to face, I'd probably say a hell of a lot more. So any of you athletes that want to live in a fairy tale land, don't race with Delmo Sports. Do not sign up with us. You'll hate it. That's my parting comments.
And Atlantic City 70.3 sells out tomorrow.
Yep.
That's it, man.
Let's
Awesome.
do it.
Thanks again, Steve.
All right, I'm hanging up for real.
All right, man.
For real.
Sounds good. Be good.
See you,
man.
dude.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.